This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Monday, July 29. So glad you can join us. I'm Fernanda Wedderburn. Pensioners anxiously awaiting the restoration of their disability benefits should receive their payments by next month. Word of this today from Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Straughn. Since May, some pensioners have complained that their monthly income had been unfairly slashed.
The Treasury is working to reinstate the benefits which would have been coming from the Treasury, to make sure that those persons who would have been receiving it before, that they continue to do so. But in the broader context of pension reform going forward, which we've committed to within the context of the public service, we are engaging the stakeholders to be able to bring that to solution. I think the present circumstance needs to be resolved as quickly as possible, and I can assure those persons that it will be rectified. It is unfortunate that we haven't been able to complete it in time for the end of July, but they can be assured that as soon as possible in August, we will have the matter rectified for those persons who are in fact who would have been receiving the invalidity benefits from the national insurance, and to make sure that that process is streamlined.
Health authorities are embarking on a new plan to ramp up the dwindling supply of nurses on the island. Today, government started 2 days of talks with Adtelem Global Education, the parent group of Chamberlain University and Ross University School of Medicine, aimed at establishing a school of nursing in Barbados and enhancing opportunities here. Health and Wellness Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick told the gathering the shortage of nurses here must be addressed, even as he expressed concern that developed countries were still wooing the island's nurses to their shores. He, however, stressed that this should not be viewed as a challenge, but an opportunity.
We have a nursing shortage, and yes, we know that there are persons from metropolitan countries that have been in the region and certainly on our shores, soliciting the services, the professional services of our nurses. And I do not think that we should continue to see that as a challenge, but from here on, to see it as an opportunity to supply a demand that is required. So that all that we do in education and training, in my view, must be geared towards satisfying that demand. I believe that collectively we have the capacity to train as many nurses as we can that are required for both domestic and international use. We have the capacity. We need just to put it together.
The health minister stressed the need for trained nurses, particularly since Barbados is taking action to ensure the provision of health care for CARICOM nationals living here.
We must reach a point where we have specialist nurses in all areas of specialty that can be utilized here on island and that can be exported in terms of their services and their skills. That is the vision that we have. That is the vision that we need to realize. We cannot allow a situation to occur where we are left behind. And yes, we are expanding into all of these areas of specialties and we are going international, but we are falling behind with the human resources and the human capacity. I believe also that collectively we can address the issues today and tomorrow in relation to the failure rate of Barbadian nurses in the regional examination. Not only Barbadians, in fact, it's a regional problem. We have the capacity and the ability to do so today and tomorrow.
In other news this Monday, Culture Minister John King says the Soca Monarch competition is here to stay. Following yesterday's staging of the inaugural event, some artists urged authorities to separate the sweet soca and power soca genres. But King told Barbados Today there's no need to split the competition.
When this competition started, it was a competition that was aimed at what? At getting people to produce party music. It wasn't split into into two. It only became split after there was so many entries from different persons that you try to find a way that would allow varying sets of artists, the street soca ones and the others, to be able to maximize the thing. But over the years, your audience has been complaining that the power soca songs or soca monarch songs, if you choose to call them, have not been of a very high standard.
Right.
And people were saying that they only come there to hear the street soca song. So what do? You have to make a decision which is in the interest of, one, your constituents, the audience that you want, and the artists just have to also be able to listen to their constituents and not just think in a one-dimensional way.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now in Jamaica, former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has dismissed claims that she was issued with a government credit card. We get more in this report from Television Jamaica.
Last week, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, in an interview with Dion Jackson Miller on RGR 94 FM's Beyond the Headlines, outlined that 5 former PNP ministers and 3 JLP ministers, including the Prime Minister, received government-approved credit cards before adding,
previous Prime Ministers from the People's National Party have been issued credit cards as well.
It raised eyebrows that former Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller may have been a recipient of a government-approved credit card. However, Mrs. Simpson Miller, in a tweet over the weekend, called the speculation fake news. She said she was offered one but turned it down. Her tweet was made ahead of TVJ News catching up with current PNP President Dr. Peter Phillips, who was the Finance Minister in the Simpson Miller administration. Dr. Clark said government-issued credit cards would have to be approved by finance ministers, but Dr. Phillips says he's not recalling approving any.
I had no awareness that the policy had been changed in 2009. If the Ministry of Finance approved it in my time, I certainly was not made directly aware, and any approvals, I believe, without having the opportunity to refresh myself with the files, would have been really with the Financial Secretary.
On the international scene, in Brazil, a bloody clash between 2 prison gangs today left at least 52 inmates dead, 16 of them decapitated in the northern state of Pará. It's the latest deadly prison clash this year as the country's far-right government struggles to control the country's jails.
A bloodbath at a prison in northern Brazil has left at least 52 inmates killed, with mass decapitations reported. Authorities say the carnage occurred during a riot at the Altamira prison on Monday morning between rival criminal gangs. Many of the prisoners died from suffocation after part of the prison was set on fire. Such incidents are not uncommon in Brazil, which has one of the highest prison population rates in the world. President Jair Bolsonaro says more prisons must be built to ease the chronic problem of overcrowding and to keep rival gangs apart.
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, so like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.